Ruin, N'Zoth's her coral crown pulsing with tendrils alien light. N'Zoth's her coral crown pulsing with tendrils alien light, coiled in the currents, whispering promises older than the Pantheon's wrath. Odsai, Odsai, Enhekrant, 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 Enhekrant. Odsai. It is a contract etched in the warping of Azeroth itself, surviving the war of the ancients to choke the deep with its will. What price echoes in the coral's breath? The price was a prison, the Pantheon's strategy, bind not banish. The war of the ancients and the war within phases of a single agony, a cosmic prison bond etched in coral and blood. N'Zoth's will did not perish with the aspects fall it slumbered, anchored by Azshara's flesh. Her Naga form was no curse but a keystone, a contract to choke the Black Empire's reach. Now Xal'atath ascends and Azeroth's world soul stirs, the prison bond frays, what wakes when the coral's breath turns to ash. The Pantheon's gambit always hinged on a fragile peace. Azshara's whisper is no relicit, is a warning, the deep remembers. The deep is hungry. The first breath of the Black Empire was a hymn to N'Zoth's hunger. Towers of obsidian coral rose where Azshara's spires once pierced the sky, their bioluminescent veins pulsing with void-touched ichor. The sea here smells of brine and rot, a scent older than the mountains. When the Titan Noreth scorched the corruption, it only wove the threads tighter. Each shattered shard of Azshara's pride became a cog in the machine. She did not bargain for salvation, she bargained for dominion, her voice joining the old god's chorus. You can still hear it in the deep currents, a low, resonant drone that makes the bones ache. The ritual wasn't a transformation, it was an anchoring. N'Zoth's tendrils didn't consume her, they became her, stitching void god will into every scale of her Naga form. The Black Empire's ruins are not graves, they are vaults, their walls etched with the same script that coils beneath Azshara's tongue. Her crown is a prison, her empire's legacy is a leash, and the leash still tightens. The undercurrent hums with a salted rot. Deep in the sunwell's drowned echo, Azshara's voice fractures, part song, part scream as N'Zoth's tendrils thread her veins. The water thickens, turning syrupurgent. She feels the coral gnaw into her bones, sweet and venomous, a second skin that remembers when light existed. The pact is not a chain, it is a asterisk key asterisk. The ritual's climax burns like drowned starlight. Azshara's crown of kelp and pearl pulses, not with magic but with alien hunger. N'Zoth's whispers are not words, they are tectonic plates shifting beneath her teeth. She sees the Black Empire's future, a thread of void-spawn larvae buried in Azeroth's crust, waiting. Her people will become leviathans. Her cities will become tombs, and when the sundering's fire reigns, she does not perish contracts . The heat of falling stars sears the surface, but here, in the cold kiln of her new body, she is preserved. The Naga form is a vault, her soul is the lock. Centuries later, the coral still throbs with the memory of his touch. When adventurers dive the sunken temple, they mistake her murmur for a lullaby. It is not, it is a rehearsal . N'Zoth's return is not a possibility, it is a schedule. The pact's terms were clear. Her dynasty would guard the Black Empire's foothold until the void was ready. The war of the ancients did not defeat him, it anchored him. Every Naga curse, every plague of the deep, is a down payment. Azshara's crown still aches where the void's leash digs in. But her ice, those endless, patient ice watch the horizon. The war within is not an ending, it is a rendezvous . And the tide is rising. The water here is colder, even N'Zoth's bioluminescent corals shiver. A footnote in Chronicle Vol 1 mentions bones in the silt remnants of the Black Empire's architects, not their victims. Their whispers thread through the currents, not screams but syllables, arranging themselves into bargains. You can almost taste the ink on that page, bitter as betrayal. In the eternal palace, the coral isn't alive, it breathes . Grotesque murals pulse beneath the waves, Azshara not as queen but as keystone. Her crown splits open to release a spire of black stone, a conduit. The ritual didn't trap N'Zoth, it anchored him. The Watcher in Ulduar called it a lease, not a curse. A voice, not a prison, she still hums. The Naga Queen's song doesn't echo, it resonates. Each note vibrates the coral's marrow, feeding a hunger older than the sundering. The Pantheon shattered her body but not her contract. Their fury carved her into a vessel, yes. Yet the contract's terms they required her asterisk, not her death, her asterisk duration asterisk. The footnote's ink fades, the murals bleed. And deep in the reef a heartbeat sinks with N'Zoth's slow, sprawling dream. The tide isn't rising, it is asterisk returning asterisk. The truth is not a liberation, it is a shackle. Azshara's bargain outlived God's. And every time the Naga sings, the chain tightens. The Coral-Naga's song is no dirge, it is a ledger. Each note etched by N'Zoth's quill, each tide a tally of the debt Azshara swore to pay. The Pantheon bound the old gods in chains of light, certain they had sealed the void. They did not understand binding is not the opposite of freedom. Binding is a language the void translates into asterisk leverage asterisk. The war within storms did not birth Xal'atath. They unshrouded a truth older than the Pantheon's hubris. Azeroth's world soul stirs not from salvation, but from a wound that never clotted. Azshara's transformation was no accident. Her flesh became the key, her will the lock, her oceans the prison's walls. The Naga Queen is both warden and ward. You think the Black Empire fell, its remnants slither in the coral's roots. N'Zoth's return was never a surprise. It was a guarantee. The Pantheon's containment was a child's riddle: seal the gate, but leave the key with the demon. Azshara's pact was the key, her body the mechanism. Every time the Naga sings, the prison's walls thin. Every tide erodes the boundary between what is held and what is coming. The war of the ancients did not end N'Zoth. It signed his lease. The Pantheon's light could not kill what was never alive, only caged. And who better to hold the cage than the one who begged for the lock? Azshara's whisper is not a plea. It is a counteroffer. The coral breathes, the Black Empire listens, the chain tightens again. The Pantheon carved her into coral and called it justice, yet justice does not endure. Azshara's voice persists, proof the ritual was not a cage, but a ledger. The Pantheon knew they could not kill N'Zoth. They sought to chain it, to trade its hunger for Azshara's vigil. Her form was not a wound, but a knot, a living seal to guard the Black Empire's prison. Coral does not rot. Coral remembers. For 10,000 years her whispers have tested that seal. How many breaches has she averted? How many more will she? The war of the ancients shattered gods, but N'Zoth's pact remains whole. What if the Pantheon's true failure was not in binding N'Zoth? What if it was in thinking the bargain could ever be one-sided? The sea does not forget. Azshara's coral is not a tomb, it is a quill scratching out a debt. The Black Empire breathes. The chain does not break, it only shifts. Why does Queen Azshara still whisper to the coral? Her form was no curse, it was a covenant. The Pantheon did not shackle her, they made her a key. N'Zoth, the old god of secrets, did not conquer Azshara. He made her his vessel. In the southern oceans, where Azeroth's tides churn with ancient rot, the war of the ancients birthed a pact. Azshara did not bargain for power, she became a prison. Her coral flesh is N'Zoth's anchor. A zero-sum trade, her empire for his empire. The Pantheon thought they buried him, they only gave him roots. The Black Empire did not vanish, it sleeps. The depths of Ny'alotha name carved from fear hold its remnants. Tendrils of corruption coil in the bones of the Naga Queen. What the Pantheon called containment was a chess move N'Zoth played first. Her voice in the coral is not a whisper. It is a dirge, a hymn to the god who turned her into a monument. Did the Pantheon foresee this? Or was their strategy a gamble they could not win? The coral is no tomb, it is a ledger. Every whisper etched in it feeds the Black Empire's return. The chain does not break, it tightens, the old god breathes. And the queen is his first breath. The deep-sea chill clings to the chronicler's breath. Bioluminescent spores drift where Azshara's throne once loomed a reef now, pulsing with N'Zoth's slow, malignant heartbeat. The coral's murmur is no dirge but a ledger, debts paid in flesh, centuries of quiet war etched into calcium. She did not bargain for power, she became the prison's key, her spine a ladder of scales and sorrow. In the Black Empire's ritual, the sea thickened to tar. N'Zoth's voice was the pressure of a drowned star, crushing her lungs into something new. Her crown split, jaws sprouting from her brow, each tooth a vow. The Pantheon watched, they knew. Let her trade her blood for Azeroth's fragile sleep. When the war of the ancients tore the sky, Azshara's tides did not rise to conquer. They steadied, a dam holding back what the Pantheon had chained. The Naga's song was a warning, not a hymn. Now in the war within, Xal'atath's ascent is N'Zoth's next gambit, the world soul's awakening, a shudder in the prison walls. The chronicler's throat tightens. They have spent lifetimes parsing the Pantheon's victories, blind to the cost. The old gods are not prisoners. They are patients. Azshara's whisper curls through the reef, a name, a hunger, a half-remembered promise. The chronicler turns their back. Some truths are too vast to bear. Some chains are love made permanent. Chains forged in shadow bind more than lovers. The Black Empire's whispers endure in Azshara's coral throat. What did she trade to become its keystone? N'Zoth's breath reshaped her bones, not a curse but a collar. The Pantheon feared the old god's leashed wrath. The Naga's flesh remembers twisted, immortal, a covenant of service. Neltharion sank with the same hunger. The curse of flesh was no accident. Titans made gods, but mortals made weapons. Azshara's pact birthed a tide of war. How many others wear silent bargains? The Void Lords, the Leviathans. How many rust where but not all silence snap? Read or deep, turn the page. Chains forged in shadow bind more than lovers. The Black Empire's whispers endure in Azshara's coral throat. What did she trade to become its keystone? N'Zoth's breath reshaped her bones, not a curse, a collar. The Pantheon feared the old god's leashed wrath. The Naga's flesh remembers twisted, immortal, a covenant of service. Neltharion sank with the same hunger. The curse of flesh was no accident. Titans made gods, mortals made weapons. Azshara's pact birthed a tide of war. How many others wear silent bargains? The Void Lords, the